Hello everybody, today's topic is self-acceptance and trauma release, and it's been a very hot topic, especially recently, especially during the last year and a half. It's occurred in a lot of people's lives, and it causes a lot of distress, a lot of disharmony in relationships, in family relationships, in friendships, and also in the relationship we have with ourselves. The great thing about this is that first of all, it teaches us a lesson. Second of all, we can learn through it how to feel our own feelings. And last but not least, and you get to know why, is that we can actually release it. We can help ourselves and we can heal those traumatic situations. We can heal a lot of emotional pain, emotional blockages, and also detrimental thoughts, because all of those things are interwoven and interconnected. They work together, and the most important thing about it is that 80% of the job is done once you acknowledge that there is such a thing happening in your life. There is such a thing which is a reoccurring theme in your life, that there are certain emotions that you block, certain emotions, feelings, bodily sensations, and thoughts that you suppress. So the first step is 80% of the whole thing. The moment you acknowledge it, the moment you become really honestly aware of it and courageous enough in order to recognize it in front of yourself and look for help, because help is out there. Today's video is going to be broken down into 3 sections. So the first one is what is trauma or a traumatic event. Second one is feeling your trauma. And the third one is how to release trauma and emotional blockages. The fourth and last one is self-acceptance. Let's do that. So when we're talking about a trauma or a traumatic event or situation in our lives, I would like you to imagine stuck or trapped emotion/energy somewhere in your body. And because emotions and feelings are bodily sensations, they're physical sensations, so that means that when I feel happy or joyful, I feel pleasant physical sensation in my chest, for example, or it feels like it's opened up, or that there is more space there, that it feels more free. And on the other hand, if I feel agitation or shame or anger, I might feel contraction in some parts of my body, which might be the solar plexus or the belly area, or even my throat if I have issues speaking up. A simple example of a traumatic situation can be when a kid at school is giving a presentation in front of the class, and after the class some kids, for whatever reason, decide to bully that other kid, and this other kid feels so emotionally overwhelmed that it unconsciously, maybe partly consciously, that the psyche/mind decides to dissociate. So it dissociates from the body, and this emotion gets stuck in the body unprocessed. So it doesn't come in and out, but it stays stuck somewhere in the middle. So for some people, this might be the chest, throat, solar plexus, it might be shoulders, back pain, lower back pain, it might be belly, it might be pelvis area as well, hips, etc., etc. The point here is that the moment it gets stuck there and the mind and psyche dissociate from the body, that means that this emotional content stays there after that. It cannot get fully processed and released, let go of. And after some time, this person will still have it because it needs to be felt. It needs to be processed fully in order to be let go of. So in 20 years, this kid is already a grown-up man, but they might still have this trauma. And when they want to give a presentation in front of their colleagues, they might experience the same type of emotions, and they are going to feel it in the exact same spot, in the exact same place in the body. So when we block a certain emotion, a certain feeling or a certain thought from reoccurring, that already means that there was a situation which took place some time ago, it was so uncomfortable, so unpleasant, painful, and hurtful that we decided that's enough. We don't need to feel that, and we just put it in a box and lock it there. The problem with that is that trauma and traumatic events and experiences, traumatic situations in our lives need to be processed. And there are natural ways of the body and also of the mind, of the energy system of the body, how feelings and thoughts and bodily sensations get processed. It's a very natural thing. The body knows how to do that. The only thing that prevents it from successfully doing it is when the mind is too overwhelmed, when the mind cannot explain something to itself rationally, intellectually, and does not find a reason for this to be happening. This can lead to a lot of childhood trauma. When we're kids, we're in theta brainwave state, and the rational part of our mind is not yet developed on such a level that we would be able to just sit with the situation and discern that our father hit us, or they screamed at us, or something very, very unpleasant or painful happened to us, or in our surrounding, not necessarily even to us, but it might have actually been done to somebody else next to us. And we take it upon us. When we're kids, we don't yet have the rational part of our mind developed to such an extent that we can discern that this is happening because this and this and this reason, and this is not our fault, that this is not really our issue, that even if somebody has treated us badly, this does not mean that the fault is ours. A lot of not enoughness comes from childhood, a lot of low self-esteem, a lot of really, really painful trauma. Not for everybody, right? But some of us have undergone certain very, very traumatic experiences, and those have left a mark, a scar on us, emotionally and mentally, because those things, as I already mentioned, are very interconnected. Think about feeling a specific emotion in your body, which is negative and connected to certain situations or events, something in the external or something in you that you might be punishing, that you might be unpleased with, that you might be scared of or embarrassed. Well, most of us experience those on a daily basis. And imagine now that there are areas of your body that are in pain every single day, that are being hurt multiple times per day. Well, what happens then is that we cause damage to our bodies. For some people, this happens over decades and decades and decades on a daily basis, just causing pain to their bodies. And this develops into illnesses, this develops into chronic pains. Imagine that you are hitting yourself in the shoulder every single day, multiple times per day. Guess what's going to happen over time? Even if the hit is not so strong, guess what's going to happen after 5 years? Well, yeah, most probably your shoulder blade and all the joints and sockets and everything going to start dislocating. It's going to be more and more painful, that at some point the damage is going to be so big and you're just going to be diagnosed with some sort of illness or whatever science says. There are certain energy channels in the body. It's called the meridian system. A lot of this energy, which we can also call emotions, gets stuck in the meridian system and in the chakra system. So those energy systems are created, and we all have them, in order to be able to deal with all sorts of experiences here on earth. All sorts of, and by experiences I mean emotions, thoughts, sensations, everything that we can experience here. And when a certain energy channel gets blocked by an emotion, so there is congestion of certain feelings and emotions that are being suppressed, that they are not allowed to be fully felt and experienced because they are very overwhelming for the mind and for the body as well. Like, those things are not a joke. Emotions can be much, much more painful than physical pain. And I'm not comparing those things because Physical pain and emotional pain are two sorts of pain which we still feel in the body. And of course, it can be triggered by the mind, by just a thought, or the emotion itself can trigger the mind into detrimental path of thinking. Trauma is stuck emotion, stuck energy somewhere in the body. And in order for this stuck energy to be fully processed and released, it needs to be felt, it needs to be experienced. And in order to be experienced, it has to be looked at. And of course, this is quite metaphorical, because looked at in this case would mean to just open up to it, to be honest in front of yourself that this is happening, that I am feeling like this, and not go into distraction mode or denial or some sort of rejection or additional suppression. And this might be very hard. I'm not saying this is easy. This can be very hard for some people. It can be harder for some. We're unique in this sense. Our bodies and energy systems are created in such a beautiful way. Without our interruption or interference, they have no problems with processing all of those things. It comes in, it goes out. The good thing about this is that there are so many ways out there to process those emotions and to let them go, to basically heal your trauma. Some of those methods are EFT, which stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, which is tapping. It's connected to the meridian system, the meridian energy system in our body. Those are energy channels in our body that are conducive to the energy flow. And while tapping on those different points, connecting with a certain emotion, what we do is that we open those channels a little bit by tapping on those points and connecting with the emotion behind it. So first of all, we start experiencing and processing the emotion, because memories also come while we do that. And we open up those channels in order for this energy, which has been stuck for so long, to start moving and to be naturally released by the body, through and out the body. And I absolutely love it, because it creates this safe space for me, in me, where I can feel whatever I need to feel. If I feel uncomfortable about something, like I did before actually recording this video, I felt my throat locking up and I felt uncomfortable, I felt anxious. So I sat with myself and I did some EFT. The person that opened me up to EFT tapping was Nick Ortner and the tappingsolution.com. So I highly suggest you check that. And there are tons of videos on that topic with Nick or with other practitioners that can give you tips as to how to do it during the sessions and how you can change it for yourself. Another one is TRE. So TRE stands for Tension and Trauma Release Exercises. I have to give all the credits for that to Dr. David Berceli, because he developed the TRE method. It uses the natural tremor mechanism in our bodies, meaning that when we are stressed or super anxious about something or scared, sometimes our bodies start tremoring and we start feeling those shakings in our legs or in our feet, hands, torso or arms. Those tremors are actually energy, because our amygdala gets turned on and it immediately turns on also the fight or flight response in our body. Our body gets a huge shot of energy, of adrenaline, and it's ready to run or fight. For this energy to be released, the body has to do something. So the tremor mechanism is related to the innate capability of our bodies to release this energy, to release this charge, because this charge is given to us in order to run or to fight. When in our advanced society we decide to suppress all of that and not do anything about it, this gets stuck in the body and it has nowhere to go. So what happens then is that it just accumulates, and over time can cause a lot of different illnesses, also a lot of mental distress, of emotional distress and whatnot. The TRE method is so good because this is exactly what animals do in the wild, and what our bodies can also do quite naturally without any problem. So imagine that there is a rabbit that tries to escape a fox, and because it cannot outrun the fox, the nervous system of the rabbit gets overloaded. The rabbit is in a trap. So what happens then is that there is a switch in the nervous system and the freeze response gets activated. So immediately the rabbit flips over. It seems like it just died. And the fox most of the times goes there, sniffs the rabbit and leaves because it also thinks that it's dead. And there are tons of videos on YouTube, on the internet, where you can actually watch that and see what I'm talking about exactly. But after a while, after the fox has left, the rabbit suddenly jumps, the body of the rabbit starts tremoring, and it starts experiencing all of those shakings and tremors, and after maybe 20 or 30 seconds, it stands on its paws again, absolutely calmly, leaves the scene as if nothing has happened. Well, this is what TRE also does for you. We learn how to use this tremor mechanism, which is an innate capability of our bodies to release this energy, this charge which has been given to us by the amygdala and fight or flight response. We just learn how to tremor it all out, shake it all out. Check on the internet, there are tons of videos on that topic. Another one is bioenergetics. And bioenergetics, maybe it's going to be more interesting for those of you that are more into fitness and being active, like to exercising and things like that, because it's connected to certain groups of muscles you aim to tire by doing certain exercises. And because those exercises are most of the time static, overloads certain muscle groups in order for you to feel pain, because we're also encouraged to stay in certain positions, like in certain postures, which are not giving us so much freedom. First of all, tremors might happen, and second of all, this pain in your body might connect with an underlying trauma or stuck emotions somewhere in your body. And in this way, you can scream it out, you can cry it out, you can laugh it out, you can jump it out, but it's extremely, extremely relieving. And the thing is that it works in the same way all of those other things work, because during this moment of laughter or cry or shouting or whatever, you will also feel those emotions, feel them fully, and that's exactly why you will be doing it. And also you might have traumatic memories that might come with those emotions, but this is exactly the idea, that through your body you connect with your emotions, you connect with your memories, you allow yourself to process them fully and to let them go out of your system, to release them. The next method / technique is meditation. It's definitely one of my personal favorites, and I've been extensively meditating throughout the last couple of years. It's helped me and allowed me to really dive deeply into myself, to meet with some shadow aspects of myself, to meet with a lot of stuck feelings and trauma from my childhood and my teenage years. And it's also helped me change myself tremendously by observing my feelings, by observing my thoughts, and opening up and being honest with what I'm seeing, with what I'm feeling, and with what thoughts occur to me, which I can observe during meditation and not only. However, I also want to point out that I've noticed that there are certain spiritual communities that are promoting meditation in such a way, and a lot of people have been doing meditation in such a way that they've been using it as a tool to further dissociate from their bodies and from their minds without integrating it. So only going for the bliss out experience without coming back and meeting with how they really feel currently, what's happening currently in their lives, and how their minds are acting, what thoughts they have. And without this personal reflection, without meeting and facing our fears and what makes us feel uncomfortable, our feelings, we cannot further progress. And eventually we'll need to come back. And I can say that from personal experience, I personally was doing this. I was just going for the bliss out and dissociation part of meditation. But at some point I learned that the more I'm avoiding it, the worse I feel in my body. And the more experiences of bliss out I'm having, and the fewer times of integration I'm actually doing after that is not leading me to anything better, but I'm getting stuck at some point which I just feel that I cannot overcome. After all, we are with ourselves throughout our whole entire lives, and it's not going anywhere. And the more we bury it under physical pain and we decide not to pay attention to how we feel, the more we actually bury ourselves in the sand and pretend to be an ostrich, which is not really working, and most of us already know that it's not working because it's very overwhelming. It can be very, very painful. Stuck emotions, which are not processed, can be much more painful than physical pain, and can be resolved much quicker than actually building this physical pain and this emotional pain throughout the years and creating also illness and whatnot. If you open up to your feelings now, and if you start doing the inner work, if you start being open and honest with yourself, seek help from professionals that can help you do this in a quicker way, in a better way, and in a way that is not going to be harmful anyhow to you. This is what self-acceptance is. This is what self-care is. This is also what love is. Because every time that you do something for yourself to feel better, you show yourself that you care. You show yourself that you accept who you are and you want to change that in order for you to feel better. You also understand the potential of life, how things can be, how some things are not supposed to be, and that they can change, that there is a way, that life is amazing, and that releasing trauma and feeling your feelings is so relieving. First of all, it's so relieving. It also teaches us wisdom, because the moment you've released certain trauma, or you've completely and totally opened up and felt and processed and let go of a certain feeling, then there is only wisdom left. There is a situation in the past and knowledge now, but there is no trigger anymore. There is no trauma response anymore. So with this, guys, I'm finishing this video for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you're gonna check out some of those methods, and I'm sure that one or more than one of them are going to be very helpful for you in order to overcome some of your own obstructions and obstacles in your own lives. Thank you again for watching. You can support me by donating on PayPal, and all the information about this is in the description below. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel here, or you can like my Facebook page. Thank you guys. Until next time.